Hi there, lovely, and welcome to Let's Chat. I'm Rhonda Crimes, and I'm a certified life and leadership coach and trainer for everyday women just like you who are tired of being people-pleasing good girls, or who I prefer to call super givers. I'm here to do all I can to guide and support these beautiful super givers in my community to be able to use their voice, make their stand, and live their life their way. If that sounds like something you'd like to know more about, keep listening and don't be shy to reach out and take advantage of my offers and invitations for one-to-one and group coaching, training and mentoring opportunities, where together we'll curiously explore what is most important for you to stand for, to compassionately encourage you to speak your truth and to courageously live your life aligned to your heart's desire, with confidence and without guilt. In this episode, let's chat about, so you think you need to be more productive? Wow, this is such a big thing for a super giver. Always so many people to take care of and things to do. But before I get into it, I want to ask you a few questions. Have you ever said you need to be more productive? Oh, but I'm just so tired. Have you lamented how you want to make the most of your time? Have you questioned how you can get more done in less time? Have you gone into overwhelm, figuring out how you can do all the things on your to-do list without crash and burn? I'll bet you have nodded your head to having said at least one of these things in the last week, month, or on loop through the year. Do you struggle with procrastination or putting things off? But at the same time, do the fun, fast, and easier items, telling yourself you just need to keep busy, pushing the other bigger and heavier stuff forward for future you to deal with, once time has run out for putting it off any longer. Yep, I hear stuff like this all the time. And in fact, I used to live like this all the time. And let me tell you, living under this constant state of pressure to be productive or busy is a surefire ticket to burnout. Have you felt that kind of productive busyness get to that level? If you're nodding again, then today's Let's Chat is going to shed a new ray of light on how you think about productivity and whether it really is the right goal to be aiming for, especially for super giver gals like yourself. But be warned, some of you might find your buttons being pushed as I challenge some of your beliefs about having to be productive. I also know it did for me when I first heard about it. But I am quite confident that when you do look at this from another perspective, also like me, you will notice that there are profound shifts to be had in our effectiveness, our efficiency, our personal power, and then, of course, how we are better able to play the game at home or work or anywhere else. Many of you, I know, believe that all you need is more time, or at least a better time and energy management system. And for many of you, that could be beneficial. I don't know how many people I speak to who are so averse to any kind of time or energy planning. They come up with the most amazing and creative answers to validate their own story. By the time I've planned, I could have just done it. I don't have time to plan. Planning locks me in and I lose my spontaneity. But equally, for many of you planners like me, you do use a calendar, you do schedule time, and you still procrastinate, put off, overdo it, and become too busy. So what is the answer then? Well, firstly, I think we need to recognize we live in a culture that celebrates productivity. It is everywhere we look, from celebrities on our screens to magazines, social media posts, and of course, boss man Bob at work. However, when we really look into it, it shouldn't even apply to humans. Productivity is a term that evolved out of the Industrial Revolution and was more about the efficiency of manufacturing or producing a good or service. According to the Productivity Commission on the Australian Government website, productivity is a measure of the rate at which output of goods and services are produced per unit of input, in brackets, labour, capital, raw materials, etc. It is literally talking about producing from a very mechanistic vantage point. But we are not machines that just turn on and off. We are humans that live and breathe and think and feel. Therefore, I believe a better approach is to change the name of what we're aiming towards. The name I'm inviting you to aim for in this new age of time and energy management is fruitfulness. When you compare our human beingness to machines, there is so very little overlap. But when you compare yourself to nature, to animals and fruit trees, you share way more in common. You're alive, for starters. And if you are watching or listening to this, it's even more likely you are a woman. And there is then a heightened association to cycles and bearing fruit or perhaps young. Regardless if you are currently cycling or you have moved into the menopausal phase of your life. In fact, it doesn't matter if you have biological children, grow your own fruit and veggies, work in a corporate setting, or run a non-for-profit. You will notice things are cyclical and do ebb and flow with the passing seasons of time or energy. There are times of conception, growing, fruiting, shedding, and fallow in all the areas of life that we connect with. And as as a career woman, there will be days to reap the harvest of the hard work you've put in to bring a project to life. Equally, there are days when you've put in all that effort, and despite that, there is no harvest. You could say you haven't been productive, but in the context of being fruitful, you have had a fruitful day. Similarly, this can apply to being a parent, bringing a child into the world, or as a player of a sport, training, then competing, and then resting in the off-season. These are all examples of cycles, all versions of fruitfulness, rather than mechanistic productivity. So how obscure is it that this very linear, focused drive of churning out items or ticking off checklists has become the ideal measure that is used so widely? That old productive paradigm is only about time. And we are conditioned to believe we only get 24 hours a day, and if we don't use them, we lose them. We're only focusing on what time we can bring to a task. Makes for a pretty stressful experience, right? No wonder we are all worrying about where all those hours in the day went. So what if we, what would happen if we shifted the focus from time to energy? What if we were more attuned to what is the most efficient energy to bring to a task? The productivity model is about pushing through and just getting it all done. It doesn't matter if you stay late, become exhausted. You just have to make it happen. Whereas if we shift to the fruitful model, we can begin to recognize that there is time for birthing, which does require pushing through. But equally, there is the essential time for rest and replenishing to prepare for the next growth phase. Unless we follow this cycle, we're making ourselves sick and less effective, and therefore less efficient. Being productive means having to say yes to everything without discernment or discretion. Being fruitful means having the choice to say no when the time is not right. Being productive means focusing on achieving all the time, where you must achieve constantly, robotically putting one foot in front of the other on a nice, straight production line. Being fruitful means focusing on the journey, knowing that you will achieve, but you can also enjoy the ride. Look out the windows, smell the roses, have a pleasant journey, and still reach the same destination. Being productive is very linear thinking and very mechanically targeted laser focus, while being fruitful is very cyclical, very natural, with a broader, more absorbing focus. Being productive disregards emotions and feelings. It diminishes the very real physical well-being of our biology. Being fruitful accepts emotions and feelings. It recognizes and embraces the very real biological changes that we experience as a woman over the course of our life. The peaks and troughs of our monthly cycles while we're in our fertile phase, and then also the echoes of that as we transition through menopause. Productivity says we must focus on doing really hard work. Fruitfulness says, I wonder if we could rely on magic. And when I say that, I don't mean the smoke and mirrors kind. I mean like the magic of a fruit tree, looking all barren and craggy in the winter until the spring, and then the blossoms appear from out of those dead-looking twigs. It looks like magic, but it is simply fulfilling its cyclical nature. I believe as human beings, when we start to permit ourselves to shift from the old productivity paradigm into the fruitful paradigm, we allow ourselves to create, to give, to replenish when we need. And then our efficiency and our effectiveness will rise. We will be able to toss aside that busy badge of honor that we've been led to believe is the ultimate goal. We will be able to prioritize what we do according to what feels right for us at the time, safe in the knowing that this phase too shall pass, and in the next phase we will have the right energy for the task. I'll end with this quote from Arianna Huffington, who says, "It would be futile to attempt to fit women into a masculine pattern of attitudes, skills, and abilities, and disastrous to force them to suppress their specifically female characteristics and abilities by keeping up the pretense that there is no differences between the sexes." I know that that might feel controversial in our current times, but I believe we are all different, and that difference matters. And even between women collectively, we experience our cyclical life differently. It doesn't mean we don't deserve equal opportunities and there isn't room for inclusivity. There is room at the table for all of us. We just need to give ourselves permission to be able to use the right tools at the right time for us. I firmly believe when we can recognize that the productivity model has passed its use-by date and begin to aim towards this new age of time and energy management of fruitfulness, we will all thrive. I truly hope you enjoyed this episode of Let's Chat about So You Think You Need to Be More Productive? And I sincerely hope that you will begin to challenge some of those old productivity stories you've been trying to apply to your life. But before I finish, I have one last question. As a super giver gal, do you want to thrive and get what is most important to you done when your timing is right? Or just keep surviving, trying to do it all of the time and going under? That choice, as always, is yours. If you'd like any help with making that Thrive choice stick, let me know. I have my Truly Deeply You program coming out again soon. This is where we can get into all of this great kind of stuff. And if you get on my first in line list, you'll be the first to hear about it when it does. Because with all my heart, I want you to be able to use your voice, make your stand, live your life your way with confidence and without guilt. So click on the link in the notes to subscribe, and I will welcome you warmly into my Super Giver community. Thanks for being here right to the very end of the episode. I hope there were just enough ahas or oh no's to be of value for you. I truly enjoyed chatting with you, and if you did too, can I ask that you share it with friends who would benefit or be interested as well? Also, for more brownie points, could I ask you to leave a comment, either reviewing it, asking for more info, or letting me know you've got other questions or topics you'd like me to cover off? Much love. Till next time.